Joining us now is UCLA professor Ben Radd with the latest on the ongoing conflict. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So there is this breaking report from Axios, as we were just discussing here, which says a 60-day deal has been reached. President Trump has not signed it yet. It's not a permanent ceasefire. Can we get your reaction to the reporting?
So I want to be clear on the language. It's being described as an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding. It's basically both sides agreeing on what the outstanding issues are and charting a way to address them. It does not mean they have been addressed. It does not mean that the war is over. It just means that they agree the Strait of Hormuz is an issue, that removing the blockade is an issue, that they're going to stop fighting for 60 days while they negotiate the bigger issues that are at play here. So it doesn't mean that there's an end to the fighting permanently, nor does it really tell us where things stand with regards to U.S. objectives going forward.
Absolutely. It still was kind of surprising, at least to us, with the timing. Was this surprising to you? Because originally we were having you on this morning to talk about these retaliatory attacks and them going back and forth. So it's kind of surprising that they reached any kind of agreement.
So, I think there's a lot at play here. We have, again, midterm elections coming up here in the U.S. in a few months. I know the president has downplayed that, expressing that he's not concerned by that or the economic toll that the war is taking on Americans here. Nevertheless, there is greater sensitivity in Congress and in the and essentially in the U.S. government as a whole to this conflict stretching out. So I think it's in the interest of the president, the administration, the party, to signal to both the markets, to Americans, to prospective voters that this is sort of being addressed or resolved and it's going to be winding down. There's definitely some of that at play.
You know, I start thinking about, we're 5 months away from the midterm elections. The president says, I don't care about the midterms, but it seems that voters do care about what's happening in Iran, and they're feeling, some of the economic impacts from it. Do you think there is pressure on the president to get a deal done, or do you think he truly doesn't care and he's going to just kind of continue talks here?
I don't think his interest is in which candidates rise or fall. In other words, the outcome of the midterms. What he is sensitive to is his legacy, and the midterms are a barometer, a reflection of where his legacy is headed, especially in this second term, given that he campaigned on certain promises that are now difficult to fulfill so long as the war is going on. So I think the sensitivity is a reflection of that and the pushback he's gotten from Senate war hawks, who basically had said that the president should stand firm on Iran and not capitulate just for the sake of ending the war.
Absolutely, and it's honestly impacting so many things, including oil prices. We could talk about this forever, but we're glad we got you on right as news of this deal came through. So Ben, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you.